Hi, my name is Michael Watson, and today I'll talk to you about how eggs will float or sink in salt water or fresh water. For my acknowledgement, I'd like to thank my mom for supervising my supplies and buying my supplies. I'd like to thank my dad for being my photographer, getting my pictures developed, and helping me figure out the font sizes and work out the printer. My statement of purpose is, will the egg float better in plain or salt water? My hypothesis is that since an egg will sink in regular water, adding salt will increase the density of the water and allow the egg to float. My research is that the reason why the egg will float in salt water is because of density. Density is the state or quality of being dense. Salt water is denser than fresh water. When salt water is added and dissolved in water, it breaks down into ions that are attracted to the water molecules. This attraction makes them bind tightly, increasing the amount of matter per volume. Instead of just having the molecules hydrogen and oxygen in the water, sodium and chlorine joins the equation, since salt is made up of the equation, or sodium and chlorine particles. Salt water has more particles in it compared to the regular tap water we started with. This is why salt water is denser than tap water. Materials, the two same size plastic containers, table salt, eggs, 2 eggs, measuring cup, spoon for stirring, water, and lab notebook. My procedure was to fill up the 2 containers with the same amount of tap water, add about 6 tablespoons of salt into 1 container, and stir it well with the spoon until the salt has completely dissolved in the water. And then finally, place 1 egg in each of the containers and observe which one of the eggs float in the container and which one sinks. Our results was that the egg in the fresh water descended to the bottom and the egg in the salt water floated. My conclusion is that the egg in the salt water floated because the salt enlarged the density of the water. An egg has more density than the fresh water. When you add salt to the water, you increase the density. And if you put enough salt in the same amount of water, the density of the water will be more than the egg, which services the egg to float. Salt water has more molecules than fresh water. The egg will float in salt water, not fresh water.